If you know me and you followed me for a while, greater than 3 months, you know I have been bullish on Bitcoin since 2022 because I am a cycle player. The cycle is 3 years up, 1 year down. The liquidation event that happened in October was, to me, indication of a top. However, I didn't call a top until we closed inside that Gaussian channel on November 3rd, Monday, 2025. We closed a weekly in there. I launched this channel on November 7th to follow up that call because I had a desire to help people navigate the minefield that is finance. Today, I'm going to spend a few minutes, and I mean only a few, telling you to watch out for crypto. There's going to be a bottom, but it's nowhere in sight, and I'm only going to use the Gaussian channel to make my predictions. But first, we have to discuss the risks of 2026. 2025 and 2026 was a geopolitical landmine, a war zone, and the geopolitics, Iran, Russia, Ukraine, are not good for Bitcoin because Bitcoin is a beta risk asset that plays on the S&P. Macroeconomics and tariffs are not good for Bitcoin, as we saw in April 2025. Legal risks and judgments against Bitcoin are not good for Bitcoin. I'm going to add 2 more risks here. However, the macro cycle prevails over everything. So these risks are amplified within the 1 year of a bear, within the 1 year, 2021 to 2022 November, within the 1 year, October 2025 to September 2026, these risks are going to be amplified. And this is cycle risk and new Fed chair risk. I know what you're all saying. Well, the new Fed chair is good, right? Not exactly. He favors a money supply that is lower than what we have. In other words, he doesn't like QE, quantitative easing, because that destroys the dollar. He's a dollar maxi. He does like Bitcoin. He does like lower rates. Lower rates create more risk-taking in the economy. But as far as bailing things out, such as COVID, with quantitative easing and balance sheet additions, the balance sheet additions on the Fed raise the money supply, because the Fed buys these assets and they buy them with money. So they print that money and the money goes out. That's bad for the dollar. He is not for that. So you saw gold, you saw silver crash on the new Fed announcement. And I think that's going to be that's an event-driven crash, which means it's probably going to be a buy the dip for silver and gold over the long term. I'm not talking next week, over the long term. Bitcoin is a different story. It's a cycle asset. I'm going to link my video here at the end and probably at the top here, if I can get the technology correct. On my very first video, it didn't have a microphone. It barely had a camera. I'm the first one to tell you I'm inept at technology. It was a terrible sounding video, but it was a video that was correct. And it was 1 week after we entered the Gaussian. Bitcoin has now exited the Gaussian. Look at if you follow me, fail. No fail, no fail, danger. Fail. Outside the Gaussian now, I can only guess that we're going to play out something like this. We're probably going to retest the Gaussian. We're probably going to come up and retest that 84,000, 83, 82 to close those gaps. And after we do, just like here, where we almost tested the top side of the Gaussian, it's going to go lower. And the opportunity to short is going to be there for Bitcoin. I'm going to get bullish again on Bitcoin, but I'm not going to be bullish probably for another 6 months. And I'm here to tell you that we got it exactly right by just being logical. The Gaussian channel, you can also use the 50-week moving average. That works quite good too. And what I expect now that we're out of the Gaussian channel on the downside, I expect the gap to close. We're going to probably spend 3 to 7 days trying to fill that gap, that there's a weekend gap. And that is a chance to short Bitcoin, short alts. Most alts are going to go to zero. And that's the show. That's all I wanted to say. So leave a like, comment, subscribe. Check out my first video, which I'm kind of ashamed of because it sounds so poor compared to this microphone, but everything has to start somewhere, right? And I started this for you guys to help people, and I'm going to continue helping people for as long as I'm on God's green earth. Amen. Have a great day. Have a great week.